Hi, I'm Chris, the founder and owner of Coffee&Kimuras, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and MMA fightwear and lifestyle brand. And this is the warehouse we operate from. It's been a long journey to get here, so let's see how it happened.
You're there with the white gi, your belt, you have to prove yourself, and sometimes you show how uncomfortable, how anxiety, and then you start to dealing with that, and eventually you much better, you position yourself much better in those uncomfortable situations. And that's almost automatically translate to life.
Everybody wants to sit on the couch. I don't want to go outside, it's cold. I don't want to do this, it's hot. Like, you've got to do things that you don't want to do because you show your body that your mind is the boss, that you can't just wait for things to get perfect. You just go out and do stuff.
If you watched my video from a few weeks ago, my journey to entrepreneurship, you'll know that I was sick of commuting 2 to 4 hours each way every day and trying to break out of the rat race when I started Jiu-Jitsu. I had been watching MMA and listening to the Severe MMA podcast religiously for quite a while. I gave in to Andrew McGahan's incessant rambling about Jiu-Jitsu and decided that it might be a good form of learning a bit more about MMA while also adding in the cardio aspect. Knowing he was from Dundalk, I sent him a tweet asking about beginners classes, to which he replied, "See you Saturday." On Saturday, April 2nd, 2016, I walked into this gym for my first ever Jiu-Jitsu class. My now black belt coach, then blue belt, taught us the Kimura position and I was instantly hooked. One round of live rolling left me so tired I slept on the sofa for the entire afternoon. I proceeded to go to no-gi classes every Saturday for the next few months before realising that I'd need to train a lot more often to actually remember what I learned the week before. There were 2 classes at the time during the week, Monday and Friday, so I started sacrificing an extra day in the gym to do a bit of Jiu-Jitsu. That stretched to 3, 4 and 5 days a week until eventually I was doing Jiu-Jitsu every day. Now remember, I'm still driving up and down to Dublin every day, getting up at 5 AM, going to the gym straight after work, getting home at 9 PM, eating, sleeping, repeating. I had no choice but to develop an obsession with coffee. And when I get obsessed with something, I get obsessed. Funny enough, I noticed a large proportion of the Jiu-Jitsu community were the same. So I decided to combine my newfound loves of coffee and Jiu-Jitsu with my penchant for alliteration to create a brand called Coffee&Kimuras. All the while, I had been sourcing t-shirts and phone cases from Asia for a streetwear brand idea I had developed. I replicated that process, developing a brand identity for Coffee&Kimuras, sourcing rash guards from Asia, wearing them under my gi at training and not telling anyone what I was up to. I was a 0-stripe white belt after all. I'd never even bought a rash guard, so I didn't even know what they should be like. After about 15 samples from 8 to 10 different suppliers, I stumbled across a product that I thought was decent. So I bought a couple of rash guards from reputable brands and realised that I had, funny enough, stumbled across a much superior product already. Remember what I had said about obsession though? I got obsessed with Jiu-Jitsu. I looked up the history, the big names, the big matches, the big organisations. If it would take a long time to get good at Jiu-Jitsu, at least I could learn the history quickly. By May 2017, I'd taken a new job closer to home. 10-minute drive, 15 with traffic. Everything seemed rosy and I thought this employment thing might work out after all. By August that same year I was fed up, so I spent the next 6 months working mornings and nights, getting myself ready to launch my own business. I knew it'd be difficult to make money straight away from the brand, so I decided to start another business at the same time doing what I knew, which was engineering and product design. So I bought a 3D printer and got to work. In March 2018 I officially started 2 businesses, 13 Design Consultancy and Coffee&Kimuras. For 9 months, I continued working mornings and nights alongside my full-time job, getting everything ready to launch the Coffee&Kimuras brand while doing some 3D printing to keep some extra cash coming in. On Wednesday, November 21st, 2018, I was doing an engineering design training course in Dublin, near where I had worked 2 years previously. On my way home, I called into Dublin Airport to collect 2 boxes that contained the very first Coffee&Kimuras products. That evening, I shot and edited product images in this very office. The next day, Thursday, November 22nd, 2018, the day before Black Friday, I officially opened coffeekimuras.com to the public. Spoiler alert, launching a brand on Black Friday is a terrible idea. While friends and training partners bought some products, the first website sale didn't come until mid-January. In that period, between late November and mid-January, I completely scrapped the original Squarespace website and moved over to Shopify and handed in my notice. On January 2nd, 2019, I jumped out of bed, fully self-employed for the first time, sat in this very spot, excited about the possibilities. By 11 o'clock in the morning, I was sitting on that sofa with my head in my hands, crying, wondering what I'd just done. For the next 8 months, I struggled to get anything going. I couldn't make sales, I procrastinated with website tweaks, making poor social media content. By August, I'd taken up a part-time role 3 days a week in a local engineering firm to supplement my income. In the meantime, we signed our first athlete, the king of Kimuras, Marcelo Cohen. In December, I got surgery on my shoulder for the second time. The next day, we were the title sponsor for Samurai Grappling, a new jiu-jitsu invitational close to here in Drogheda. In the evening in between, with my arm in a sling, I had to finalise the stand for that show, and that's the stand that we still use to this day. In March 2020, the world shut down. At the time, we were working with Samurai in preparation for our second event, which had some incredible names lined up. We'd also placed quite a large order from our Asian suppliers, and now most gyms in the world were shut for an indefinite period. It was a weird time, but it turned out to be exactly the reset I needed in my life. Despite not many people training, we ended up almost 106% up in revenue versus the year before. During the summer of 2020, we aligned with our second major athlete, Gabriel Austin Daffron, a Seattle-based competitor who was sponsored by 2 coffee shops at the time, so there was natural alignment there. In a funny turn of events, later that year, both he and Marcelo appeared on the same Jiu-Jitsu overtime card, an Eddie Bravo run event, before appearing on the same combat Jiu-Jitsu card early the following year, another Eddie Bravo event. 2021 was a relative down year for the brand, finishing the year down 17% versus 2020 because I was putting all my time and effort into building ZOMA. Thankfully in 2022, the brand came back to life when I was able to put a bit more time and effort back into it. Up until May 2022, I had been physically picking, packing and bringing every package to the post office myself. By May, I made the decision to outsource our warehousing and fulfillment to this warehouse. That allowed me the time and freedom to put more effort back into product and marketing, which has resulted in an average annual growth of 92% since. I should have been documenting this whole journey, even just to look back on if nothing else. Since May 2023, I have been documenting on a regular basis. Click subscribe to keep up to date. Welcome back to the Brand Builder. I'll do all that off the top of my head. I'll do it in sections.
Yeah. That's me.
Good to go, yeah?
Yep.
So I eventually gave in to Andrew McGahan's incessant rambling. It's been a long journey to get here. I put myself off by hitting my elbow on the way up. It's hard to say a streetwear brand.
Yeah, streetwear brand, yeah.
Growth of 92% annually since. But I was almost perfect. Remember what I'd said about obsession though. Click I could